Oh, just a second.
Right.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm in a meeting.
You're good, no changes.
I'm good. Yeah, thanks. All right, we're going. Aurelio, I have a question for you. If you could do something for me. Could you, you mentioned in Discord how for exercises for late Egyptian, you use the Ramsey site and you look up a text and then check yourself with the grammar.
Mm-hmm.
Could you just run through that? So I have a hard time moving around on that site. Could you just run through it and show us how to do it?
Sure. And now, full disclosure, that's one idea how you could do exercises. I've played a bit with it. It's not a regular practice or something, but
yes, yeah.
Basically, yeah, there's a whole bunch of different texts in there. Like, for example, there are letters in there, or let's see. I mean, basically, you could pick any text at random. The nice thing is, this being a dictionary, you could also use it to look words up, right? Or you could just try to read along, basically. And what I meant by checking your answers, if you're looking at something, you're thinking, okay, like, for example, here, spear, I think that's an infinitive. You can basically see if that's true and also if the interpretation is correct. That was really all.
Okay, so there's not like a text and then a place where it breaks it down. There's not like two different sections for.
Oh, no. It's not like you'd have, I mean, you'd basically have to mentally cover the translation part and just focus on the top part.
Gotcha.
There's no easy, like, I know what you mean, like an exercise section. No, not really. There is something, what's it called again? There is a training site where you can actually look at the original text in, say, Hieratic or in Coptic without any transcription, and then check your work. I try to remember what that project is called, but there is such a thing.
Okay, maybe leave it on Discord when you think of it.
Right. I can look that up later. I looked at that a year ago, thought, wow, this is a little bit above my pay grade, especially since some of those exercises were labeled as easy, and okay, to be honest, but okay. I can look that up and post that in the channel later.
Thank you.
Cool. Now, what I really like about Ramses is just they give you their grammatical interpretation, so that makes it easier rather than puzzling over what could that verb have been. The only thing you need to do is like look up what the, I mean, okay, in this case, it's sort of easy, participle, perfect, passive, but some of them, it's not immediately obvious what the abbreviation means, like TMZ. I think those are the second tempora, and I think it stands for thematizer or something like that. I wasn't expecting that in a French text. Okay.
Do we know how much of their tagging has been checked versus, like, sometimes these sites just run some machine learning thing and it's not very accurate.
Yeah, like in the Coptic.
Yeah, the Coptic tutorial, like they say whether this has been checked by an expert or not, or if it's just their automated tagging.
I mean, I don't know that.
Okay.
But from looking at a few examples, like for example in our Horus and Seth, it looks more accurate to me than the Coptic machine-generated text. So I suspect this was done by a human. Just like, for example, whenever you see the Chöre in here, I'm not sure how a computer program would figure that out.
Right. Would apply that rule. Yeah, that's a good point. I've noticed it's not always consistent, so maybe it is done by different people too. Like sometimes they translate the possessives in French, and sometimes they just put the nominative pronoun.
Yeah, I think it was basically like a group of people who did that manually. Also here, like for example, they add prepositions. I don't think the computer could do that.
Right.
Cool. And I think we have Peter on the line, or at least I see 5 people.
Oh, yes. Hey, Peter.
Hello.
Well, welcome.
Hi.
Then let's get started. So last time we got the Lord of All out of his funk, and he's ready to get up again and go to work. So crisis averted. And I think we got as far as, I'm not sure, did we have the part where Ray laughs? I think we had that, right?
Yeah, we did. That's where we ended.
So should we take it from here, or do we still have anything in the hieratic that we want to cover?
Yeah, I think we can take it from the translation.
Okay. All right. Then here we go. Should I? Does somebody else want to? I would say let's do from red to red.
I can do it. Okay, where
Love
are
your
we?
background, by the way, Kevin.
Oh, thank you. All right, so we're for, sorry, I just gotta, oh, there we are. You drew a line, great. Thank you. Okay, so when in F, dun F, UF, hem C, ta passage Ayat UF her jed and her hene set ejed ara 10. So I'll just do that. So then he got up, he got himself up. UFMC hene is he sat down. Hene, hene, another compound preposition with the Ennead, with the great Ennead. Eu her jed and her hene Seth. So that's then he said to Horus and Seth, and then here's the quoted content, and it's got that prosthetic yod. So it's an imperative in this case, and so it's ejed, so speak, and then RR10, and I don't think that's a compound preposition. I think that's just the form that R takes sometimes when the pronoun after it is plural, and so that's a second person plural pronoun. So speak concerning y'all. There we go.
So is he asking Horus and Seth to make their case then? Is that what that means?
I think so, and that's from the context. That's also what it seems like.
Okay.
That makes perfect sense, right?
Yeah. Everything is straightforward.
Well, I was very confused by the RR, but if it's just R, that makes sense.
I actually found it. I cut it out of a textbook where it says that's just a case. I can't remember where I found it, but
Nice.
Johnny Grohl has it in the section on pronouns. I looked it up too. And he says,
Okay.
whenever you have the pronoun suffixes, the R, no, sorry, it's under preposition, not pronouns. Then the R becomes a rho. And actually, it kind of speaking Coptically, it makes sense. I mean, if you pronounce the second row, which has the the determinative afterwards, the Z1 stroke, if you pronounce that as ro, it becomes erotin, which I think is exactly what it is in Coptic. So I'd run with that. The only thing I don't know is, so what is this erotin doing there? Is it like speak concerning yourselves, like your respective matter, or is that more like a reinforcement, like the data free the other day? Speak, namely ye, you.
No, I definitely think it's speak about yourselves or speak concerning yourselves. Just because the next sentence is, Seth saying, as for me, I am,
Right. That makes sense. So it's like, essentially, what do you have to say for yourselves?
Yeah. And it might be something formal, like what you said earlier, make your case. It might just be a way of saying, make your case.
Makes sense. So now we're going to get to it, right? Not. The other thing that is kind of funny is, so then he rose up and sat down, right? So here he don't, and then he hummus, or whatever the vocalization of this was. So that really, go again. Oh, sorry. So really, you could take that almost like a participle. Then he stood up, sitting down, or he stood up to sit down. I mean, you can't take that literally. It's more like it doesn't make sense to say he stood up while he was sitting down. That doesn't.
Yeah, it seems like so much times the EU is being used as an and rather than as a while,
Mhm.
Right. What's on?
But you could.
Oh, go ahead.
You could say that he did get up to join. We can say that, and you know what I'm saying, because that's what it's not he got up to sit down. He got up to join, to sit with the passage, or the enyid.
I think that too, because it says ergena, normally being like a direction of an indication of direction, right? Where you.
Yep.
Well, because he's been sitting alone sulking, right? And then his daughter came over and made him laugh. So now he's gotten up to go back and join the rest of the group. So I think in that case, it makes sense. He did get up to sit down, but that's because he's moving from one place to another.
Right. To sit down with the rest of them. That makes sense. Anything else on this one? I think it's pretty straightforward. I think, Kevin, you had it all. Prosthetic yod.
Yep.
I was impressed they wrote the feminine ending on a'at for the pesej adat.
Oh yeah, that's very Middle Egyptian. That's why, yeah, I pronounce it like that.
True, you're right. There's an extra T there.
That might have to do. That might be like an extra formal way of saying it.
Good catch.
And I almost wanted to say that that at the T and the scroll looked connected to me, at least the way I was writing it on my personal document. Let me see if I can see it here.
I think it is, and I don't think we've seen that ligature before.
Oh yeah. That
I don't think we have.
like
I mean, we've seen the T bound over all the time, but not to a book roll.
yeah.
Should we look at the hieratic up close?
Okay, let's go for it. Where'd it go? Otherwise, I mean, let's see, what do we have there? I think most of this by now looks really familiar, doesn't it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is all clear. Our little chur. The D that looks like an R. If you can tell those apart without without context, congratulations. When Donif, interestingly, it's spelled with a D, right? Is that always a D in early Egyptian? I guess, huh? In Coptic, it's a T, but Donif. Youth. This one we discussed the last time, to sit with a little S underneath. R, fancy H, dot.
Yeah.
Our ligature for ta, like the little T with a variant bird underneath. The Ennead. God ligature, plural strokes. Then we just talked about the T. UF. What's going on here?
That's another hair.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, of course. Ah. Wow.
Yeah, it's not lined up very well with underneath.
Yeah, it's not obvious.
Right. And it's not, I mean, if you look compared to this one, this looks a bit different, but
Right?
it makes
Yeah.
sense. Then Jid and Khor. Jid and Khor, Gena Set, or Sutich. Yeah, Jid Erotim. Right. I'm not sure. I'm not seeing anything that's really too special.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing, the little Sutich or Seth here, basically, that's interesting.
Yeah, he usually draws it as a more obvious puppy dog. This time it's a little more abbreviated.
Definitely a variant. Cool. Next one. How long does this one go?
It's fairly long, I think.
Maybe we should.
I can try at least the first bit. So winning set Pechti. Zanute. Is that just newt, or is that newt plus something else? I wasn't sure how many of those were determinatives or if one of it was a title.
I think it's Sanut. But yeah, there's a lot going on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a really fancy newt.
Okay. So
Newt.
Newt. So then Seth, grade of Horus or whatever, I can't remember Petty is grade of
Power.
Grade of power. Son of Newt said, or was saying, Enoch set putty 2. I didn't understand this bit, so Emcheni, I guess, passage. So so this is something like me, Seth, the grade of power should be in the hall of the passage.
Could be.
I
I
think
I was thinking that was like, as for me, I am Seth. So like,
Okay.
yeah, that's directly, he says speak R10 earlier, in the last line. And so ER Inc., as for me, he's like,
ER Inc.
speak concerning yourself, and now
Enoch
he is
set
concerning
I
myself.
am Seth, the grade of power.
Yeah, then comes the fancy part. What is the 2?
Yeah, what's the 2 doing? The 2
one way. So it could be. Go ahead, Kevin.
It could be a prepositional clause used as part of his title, or a comparative. So I am great of strength, just like they use R as a comparative. I am great of strength. in, compared to everybody in the Ennead.
So like great of strength as one among the Ennead.
Yeah, that's what I was taking it as.
So two's like a indefinite subject pronoun.
Well, that's the wrinkle, right? I mean, if the two wasn't there, then that's exactly what I think too. Like
Yeah.
the grade of strength within the Ennead, the middle of the Ennead.
Two might just be part of petty. Does that make sense?
It could be.
Sometimes they put stuff after the determinative.
Could it be verbing petty? Like I am Seth, whose strength is great. No, that doesn't make sense either.
Because he already said petty.
Yeah.
Right. Can two be anything else? Just thinking aloud. Not really, right? I mean, if it were the beginning of some kind of pronoun, then there's definitely something missing.
What does Ramses say?
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask next.
um,
I always find it difficult at Ramses to match up the line numbers. Have any of you figured out how to search by line number?
No, I was just thinking it was the same thing like you're experiencing. It's hard to find stuff.
I put the page numbers for Ramses in my working cheat sheet.
Aha.
that makes some sense, yeah.
There you go.
Wow, that's cool.
Tui. Her Tui.
So, quant à moi, je suis Seth. Grande force au son de l'Ennéade. So,
Oh yeah, look at Ramses has it with petty, right?
Oh, you're right.
so they take it just like a phonetic extension, like we really mean the Pechti is pronounced. There's a T. And
How about that?
what else could
So
it be?
grammatically, the two on the petty isn't doing anything.
Yeah, it's not grammar. It's
It's just a late
Spelling.
Egyptianism spelling. Okay.
that seems to be what they're saying.
That's
Look at that next.
that's.
That
What did
two
you
with-
say?
Let that next one, right where your cursor is, that two with the God determinative.
two.
The French translation is je.
Oh yeah, that is interesting because that's he uses a bird on a stick as a personal pronoun.
Right. So if this had an extra God determinative behind it, you could also put a comma here and say, I'm within the Ennead.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
there would be T, Emkeno, Ta, Pesjet. That would be a perfectly good adverbial sentence because those would take a T at the beginning. I mean, Tui in late Egyptian, T in Coptic. So it would work, actually. The only thing is there isn't one. I mean, no, oh, is there one? Let's take a look. Pechti.
Grade of strength.
Here's our M, and here's the 2, and there's nothing in between. So you could assume that there is a missing God determinative. It's just not written. And I guess then you could put a comma here. Although that feels abrupt, doesn't it? You would think it would do something with.
I think it doesn't seem right to me. I think he's saying I'm strong in the Ennead.
I think you're right. It's probably just reinforcing the T that's already in here.
Yeah.
I'd go with that.
I just got to geek out about the Henu word, the among. I mean, check out that cool calf. That's pretty neat.
The cool calf?
Oh, yeah.
The
The
decapitated
hieratic
calf.
calf.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
it's really amazing.
So many legs.
I know. Like,
Looks like a millipede.
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Actually, in the shipwrecked sailor, it's written like that too. Ooh, I have purple today. Nice. Okay, it's written like that in the shipwrecked sailor as well. It comes up quite often. I think already on the first page. What they did here is they added a little. It has a tail too.
And a tail,
Yeah.
an extra leg or two at the front.
Yeah, there's an extra line here.
In
Oh,
some,
yeah, and it has one more leg than the shipwrecked sailor. I know it only has 4 there, so this calf has 5.
So I guess that's just the front, like the chest, I guess,
yeah.
Yes, I think so.
coming down.
Why it has 5 legs in total, I don't know. Not sure I want to know.
So any theory about the double Y in Petit?
The oh,
The double strokes?
you're right.
And it's written that way consistently in this page, like, because he says his title is repeated several times.
Is that also the case a little bit higher?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, here, right here. Now, this
Yeah,
is what
that's a
gets
good
kind of
question.
tricky with our 2, right? Because here he's spelling Berti without an extra 2 after it.
Yeah, there's no
Oh,
two,
sure. Right.
but the double strokes are very consistent.
You know, one is in the story telling, you know, giving his title. The other one is something that he's actually saying. So that might be the difference.
Mm.
You think maybe it's conveying his pronunciation is slightly different from the narrators?
That's a possibility, or is,
Yeah.
you know.
Seth's
but
got
he
an
has-
accent.
Yep.
Mhm.
So
Good
yeah,
point.
this brings up
Seth, great of power, son of Newt. Yeah, that's a title. Whereas the second time saying, I am great of strength, he's like, he's constructing a sentence, not reciting a title.
Right.
I don't want to go too
It
far
goes
afield,
on.
but I want
And
to bring up the idea that potentially Seth is a foreign deity. Is that right?
oh, yeah. So that might be a reason for an accent.
Right.
He's got a Hyksos accent.
I don't know.
I think this is kind of a facetious sentence too. You know, they say, then Seth, great of strength, said, I am Seth, great of strength, you know.
Right. He's not supposed to be very bright.
I mean, good point about the accent, though, I think, because if you had to break somewhere, it'd say Seth, great of strength, son of Newt, he says, and then, as for me, I am Seth, great of strength. Wait, I am Seth, great of strength within the Aeneid. So that would make some sense. This binds over here, it doesn't. So like there's probably a pause. Here it may go straight on. If our interpretation is correct, it would be greater strength within the Aeneid. So indeed, it could be like a binding here. I'm not making it up. As to why it has the extra dual strokes, I don't know. Pechti.
That might just be okay, this is just a guess, that the T and the dual strokes are literature together, or it's so easy for him to write it that it doesn't mean anything, so he wants to make sure that people pronounce it and write it again. Does that make sense?
It's possible, but the thing
Isn't
that
it in the dictionary that way though? I kind of feel like I've seen that in the dictionary that it's got that double Y
Oh, yeah.
situation. Dreaming that. So that's not particular to this text. I think it has to do with the word.
Oh.
that's what I was
But I-
thinking too.
About
Mhm. Let's look it up. I'm wondering
Come
if
on.
it's
Give us more Fetties.
Oop. Wow, that didn't work.
Oh, I found it in Lesco.
What a ship.
Sure. Whoops, that's not it. Here you go. You gotta stop sharing.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, this is not Teams.
Where is it? Is this it? Yeah. Okay, what do we got?
Oh yeah.
So I see 4 strokes like on the second line, but I don't see 2 double strokes.
You're right. Is this it right here?
No, that's a compound. The other one goes with neti.
That's right.
As far as possible. Yep, you're right.
I was wondering if it could be like sometimes with those dual lines, if it could be to replace the dual line with
So,
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
quick question about Lefko. See those lines there? So are those just hieratic lines that are merging all
These.
together, or yeah.
That's what I think,
Okay.
but I don't know.
We'd have to look up the citation, I guess.
So LES does mean late Egyptian stories,
right.
and it is referring to page 2, 3, and 5, I think. And we're on page what, 4?
Mhm.
So I don't know.
Well, we're on page 4 of Horus and Seth. I don't know if that's the same as the late Egyptian stories.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
So that's a transcription, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not sure on that one.
All right,
I mean-
I'm gonna-
I mean, maybe you can distinguish in hieratic, like we've transcribed it and Gardner transcribed both of those as double strokes, but the second one is much bigger in the hieratic. Because you say the first pair of double strokes are ligatured to the T almost. Well, they're not ligatured to the T, but they're just kind of like that. Whereas the other 2 are clearly separate strokes and they're bigger.
Right. It really looks
So-
like a dual to me. I wonder if that word was felt to be kind of dual. Or not felt, but since you sometimes have the writing with the 2 lines, if that has something to do with it.
That's a good theory.
I mean, I'm probably thinking of Akkadian, but the lion, the back half of the lion always made me think of it's like the 2 paws that are strong for leaping. Like it's an inherently dual idea because it's your back end has 2 parts.
True. Doesn't Pechti also mean the 2 buttocks or something? If I'm not mistaken.
I don't know. Maybe.
Scroll up a little bit.
Without the T, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, sure.
So if you have 2 of them,
Well, I mean, it's always good to have a
Whoops.
spot, so you know.
And
Right.
that one has the 2 large strokes.
has the what? I'm sorry.
Peck is like the third writing of Peck has right there. It has the 2 large strokes after it. It doesn't have the small double strokes. So maybe the small double strokes are the Y ending that makes it a Nisbe or whatever, a thing of the hindquarters, but
Nicely said.
but the 2 larger strokes are to emphasize that it's the buttock idea,
I mean,
or it's just
I'm
a
wondering,
determinative.
could it just be graphical transposition? Like if you spell the word butt with the dual strokes, with the real dual strokes, not the little Y. If you're just doing it because you're used to it, possibly. Then again, you would think that a scribe would have more occasion to write strength or force than butt. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's-
Yeah. Comes up in conversation more
I don't know
frequently,
what they
right.
did, but
Right.
His personal life, Aurelio.
that is
We don't
true.
know everything about this tribe. Yeah.
I'm just thinking in its official function, official business.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Right.
Like a
Yeah.
word.
Should we leave it at that?
Yeah. Let's leave it at that.
Very cool though. Let's see. So we have our but here. One thing that surprised me, as for me, like Hieratic or whatever, however you want to pronounce that, that doesn't become. I mean, normally when you have a preposition or something, you would see a suffix pronoun after the preposition, and after he uses
Well, I was wondering if maybe one of the reed leaves was the preposition and they just left it off the enek because it was doubled or something. Because I think you can write enek without the reed leaf sometimes, but
Yeah.
or maybe it's ear enek set.
Wait, where do you think what do you think's missing?
A suffix pronoun on ear?
I mean, ear is
Oh, no, the ear, you mean, what he's pointing to, that, I think, the ear in this case is not a preposition, but a particle. In Middle Egyptian, you can start a sentence with the ear as a particle, as an introductory thing, exactly like this. And then they would use, then you might be able to use, you know, what do you call that? A independent pronoun as
Extraposed
the
subject.
object.
It's the object of ear. The first enek is the object of ear. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, the first Enoch, as for me, I am.
Let's look for some examples real quick. If we can find one with a pronoun that quickly. Those all have a verb after it. That doesn't help. I think, oh, here you go.
Oh,
Ear
so this is, what's the translation of the sentence?
Once upon a time, there was a king.
Yeah.
But literally,
Yeah. Right.
yeah, that's hard to translate directly. Let's see if we have another example that's a bit more idiomatic in English than as for. Let's see. Verb, more verbs. Give me a pronoun.
So what was that subject? It's an article.
So many things that can come after aid. Show me a pronoun, not an article. I'm about to give up.
Yeah, I think I maybe said it backwards. It might just be like a fronted prepositional phrase, that IR. And except then it would still take a suffix pronoun.
So Czerny and Grohl does say section 9.3.4, ear can be followed by a noun in extra position, which I think probably covers enek, which is, I think, what you said before. It's just enek is repeating, emphasizing the subject, but it sort of translates as for me, I am Seth, but grammatically, I think it's ear is introducing a nominal sentence, is introducing the extraposed subject, enek, which is the subject of the sentence, enek Seth.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
Mhm. Oh, here's one. Okay, but that's the beginning of the two brothers.
Yeah.
And that again is that
Yeah.
construction. I don't know how to translate. Ihr two cents now. I guess I'll park it. But in the process, we learned what the once upon a time line is in Egyptian.
From the Doomed Prince, yeah.
Okie doke. Next sentence. Might as well, right? What do we make out of the chud at the beginning of the next sentence? Is that?
I was treating it as a 4, as like, for example.
Is that for example? I forgot what that. It's some kind of conjunction, but I forgot what it means or particle.
I think it's one of those things that have various meanings, so we can only translate it correctly with context.
Got it.
I know it meant and, pretty clearly meant and earlier in this text. But therefore is makes sense in this context.
Yeah.
Could make sense, you're right. So you would say, oops, sorry, I'm hearing a lot of noise. That could be my system having trouble.
Could be mine too.
I hear a lot of echoes too. I'm gonna switch out of my new headphones that I've been using. I'll just try.
I can try this one. Let's see. Herti or Tui Samam. Wait, what do we make out of this one here? I think I looked up an app. Give me a quick moment. Sama. There should be another M, but it's clearly there in the text, isn't it? Interesting.
Yep.
We'll need to talk about that one, but let's take it for the moment. Is sma to slay, pa chetef, en ebra or para or pare, whatever. Sorry, mixing here between Coptic and Egyptian. So let's stay with Egyptian. Pa pare menet ue or ui emchet en via enchach. Maybe I'll stop here. So whatever the particle is, this here, that's the Coptic T. That's the new subject pronoun I. I would add a chur, like an infinitive afterwards. So I am slaying. I don't know why there's a double pa.
Thank you. I really.
That.
I mean, it's at the end of the line, so maybe they just miscopied.
Yeah,
That
it's
could
not
really
like
be.
Across the line, right?
Extra
Yeah, I was really
copy.
confused by the papa too.
Or he's stuttering. The
Right.
Pa, 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 pa. Oh, yo, that's bad.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh yeah, that's 2 parts.
So in any case, he's playing the fiend of the sun god of Re, a minute every day, daily. Yui, while I am head in the front of the barge via enchach or enchech of a million, of I guess, yeah, let's leave it there. I mean, million, eternity.
The barge of eternity.
The barge of eternity, right? Exactly.
So this is like all the tomb paintings or Book of the Dead things where Ra is in the middle of the barge and it's going through the underworld and Seth is at the front with the spear ready to fight off the snakes.
Nice. Like the Amduat, where he's going through the hours of the night too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Try image search.
Get an image of
if
that?
it means eternity, why do they use the word for multitude or millions? Why not just use necheh or jet or
That's a great question, honestly.
That's a good question.
There we go. There he is.
I think it's like just the name of his boat. And they use millions for other stuff too. Like I think for mortuary temples they have
Yeah, the Perrin Heck or whatever, the
yeah.
mortuary temples of the aristocrats were called, the mansions of a million years or something.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I was thinking of.
I mean, you would.
Oh, yeah, that
But you would expect like a emerald put behind it, right? Like a million years. And that clearly isn't there. It's just a barge of a million.
We know what it means.
I think so. Yeah. I'm still bothered by the M.
Where
Okay, so it wasn't just me. That one was weird too.
I mean,
yeah.
it's clearly an S here. It's a ma underneath. It's a little R bird, Aleph bird. And then there's another gratuitous M. This U
That's not-
is an act of faith.
that's in the pronunciation though, right? Samat. They just put it in the wrong order. They do that sometimes.
That could be.
Hmm.
Or it could be something a group writing thing.
Oh, look, it's yeah, there's that ma at the beginning too. Yeah, you're right.
So where's the W?
This
I was
here.
thinking it was like, yeah, like overlaid with the hand with the stick.
Yeah.
Oh,
That requires an act of faith to see.
Yeah,
yeah. Especially if the stick is, if the hand's supposed to be holding the stick.
Yeah.
Right.
Like if it was just the normal hand and then it overlaps. Okay, but
Well, the stick is sort of here. I mean, the hand would be just this,
hmm,
and then he's adding
so
the
doing the
stick.
line there makes the stick, and then the thing at the end is the W.
So this needs to be something else. You're right. This here doesn't help. That funny knife. That's in here. Yeah, but I think that's W here.
The spelling with the extra M is in Lesco, but I think it's probably referring to this text.
Has this one lived on into Coptic? No, it hasn't. It has not. So we don't know what the vowel there is. May have to stay unresolved. I mean, there are a few words where the most famous example is the one with the vegetables. It's in Junge, and I think it's in all late Egyptian books actually, where they take like the whole second half of the word vegetable and just copy it into other words.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm wondering
I
if
remember
that
what you're
could be the
talking about.
case here, like that second part, that's just a commonly occurring component, like, and you add it because you add the knife and the hand, but I don't have a word in mind where this could have been copied from. The other option is that, oh, these always go together, and then he just wants to make sure that you really say ma or mu or whatever comes here, and that's why he puts the mu phonetically, because this here is spelled like a unit almost.
There's a couple citations actually. I found another one in Lesco with the M after the MA and before the determinatives.
That's interesting. That's really
Right.
interesting.
LEM 3, 7, and 2.
Yep.
I mean, the weird thing here is if it already starts with ma, I mean, there's no way you're not reading that vowel. I'm sorry, that
Right.
consonant. There's
Yeah,
no way.
yeah.
Normally,
Okay, what's
Go
really weird is Lesko has like a slightly different meaning. They have it with like the folded cloth. Is that what that is? M instead of the bird, instead of the owl.
with the what? Sorry?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they got
Yeah,
that
I
too
know.
a couple
I know what
times.
you're
Oh
saying.
yeah, it's got it several times in there.
Can you share that one real quick?
Yeah.
I can do it. If you want. Whoops. Right. Share screen. There we go.
Yeah, it's actually quite common, that one.
All right, see, here's the one that we're looking at the top there. And then they have this one, but then they have this M a bunch of times in it,
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
right there too.
So not the owl M, but the golden thing M.
There it is. Can you see my cursor go over it?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, good.
That's a weird spelling.
Huh.
But then if you look on top with the word for road, which is spelled with Sema, that also has the extra M in it.
Mm-hmm.
As if you wanted to, hey, there's an M in here. And the one on top of that as well.
Sema.
If you go higher. So that seems to be a thing. Wow.
So somehow the vulture comes before the N M.
Right.
They do say that when they're introducing hieroglyphs to you. Sometimes they say that the not only will you double up on the biliterals, you'll also put them in weird orders sometimes too. The enemy is in a weird order in the text.
Yes.
Yeah, you saw that. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, right. The T comes before the H
Mm-hmm.
and Hufti.
It's written like, yeah, Hetfi or something.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll just have to accept it as a feature.
Yeah.
But it is odd. Okay. In any case, I am Seth, grade of strength within the Ennead, and I slay, or therefore I slay the enemy, the enemy of Re daily, while I am in front of the barge of a million, presumably years.
Why isn't it enemies? Why isn't it plural, the plural strokes after it?
Why isn't it what? I'm sorry.
Enemies, it's got plural strokes after it. The enemies, plural strokes.
Yes.
Is it? But in the translation, it also says enemy. So I don't know why that's
Right.
singular. Plural.
I mean, it's clearly a singular.
Just because of Pa?
Oh, God, yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Oh, I've
Maybe it's a
always read it
collective.
as enemies.
So when
I
they
always
say
pluralize it.
wouldn't be pa.
Yeah.
So then why the plural? What are the plural strokes doing? Or am I just not reading those properly?
No, you're absolutely right. That doesn't make much sense. It should be na.
Yeah.
And he really meant that pa too.
I mean, he's
Right?
Ah.
But I'm bum. No, but you're right. That's indeed weird. Can I spell this correctly? And how do you spell that in French? The double. Okay. And also the other thing that bothers me a bit, why chetef? Shouldn't that be heft?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just double check myself here because I thought we have it backwards.
No, it's backwards.
Yeah.
And I mean, here, for example, it's used without the plural strokes. It's not like it has to be.
Mhm.
Right.
Only one example, though. That's not great. Oh yeah, because I spelled it. I made it a female enemy. Okay, that's why. No. How does this work? Enemy. Here we go. Oh, look at that. But here it says, yeah, it says mine in the plural.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Really good question about the plural strokes. Man.
It's weird. It's definitely weird. I mean, it's not like you have to write it. All these don't have plural strokes. Interesting.
And in Lesko, they've got plural strokes in 4 out of the 12 or so examples.
Hmm.
So I've heard people just say sometimes the plural strokes are determined if they're not really a grammatical plural.
Just
Yeah.
Enemies are something you always have lots of.
I see. Okay.
But Ray does have a lot of enemies.
I'd still think though, if they really meant plural, I mean, the only thing I can come up with is something like the group, the conjoint of his enemies, right? But then why? I don't know. My first thought would be if he meant enemies as in plural, he would have said not part.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And if it's like some kind of conjoint, some kind of group of enemies, that would be a separate word, wouldn't it? Kind of like the
I guess
enemy,
another-
so to say, if that's a word.
Another thing we could ask is, how is N written? Is N ever written with the plural strokes above it just for fun?
No, I don't
Yeah,
think
I didn't think
other way
so.
around. I think what you're thinking about, like, and with plural strokes under, yes.
Right? Yeah.
I don't know. I think we'll have to chalk that up to. We just don't know yet.
He left out another the. He put in an extra the, but then he left out of the in the line above when Seth's saying that he's in the Ennead.
Oh yes,
Right.
Right? There's no ta.
there should be a time there isn't.
Yeah.
I think it was getting time for lunch or something.
There are a lot of weird, I mean, with the hefty being spelled wrong, the extra pa, like he was really tired when he wrote this section.
Right, here,
Plural strokes where there shouldn't be plural strokes. I mean, it's just a free for all.
He was hoping the fight would come soon. He was like, enough of this talk.
Okie doke. Should we really quickly try to do the hieratic or finish the line or?
Let's look at the hieratic.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Okie doke. We got as far as the plural strokes here. So, her, regular, two, regular, the really beautiful long
Oh yeah, that's
because we can.
Right? Yeah. I love that. Oh, cool.
Spurious M, which seems to be a thing. I don't know what to make out of this knife. Would have to look it up. I mean, obviously it's something like this. Is that how it normally looks? I think I've seen something like that before, but it's not that common. I don't know. We'd have to look it up. Second line. We talked about the pa. This here is kind of unexpected if you haven't seen it before. I mean,
Yeah,
so much
yeah.
so.
The death stick. Yeah. What? What do you call that hieroglyph?
No, that's
The Met
exactly what I
stick.
call it. I just envisioned this stick being passed around. Here, you hold the death stick now. You know?
I think the one that we should take a look at next time is what is this here? What's going on with that man? That's
Yeah, that doesn't look anything like the hieroglyph.
say that again. I'm sorry.
The men, I don't know. Have we looked at men before? That one doesn't look anything like the hieroglyph.
No, I don't think we've looked at it before. The way I'm used to seeing it is more like something like this. Something like this, and then normally with another N underneath.
Right.
And that may be what that is actually, now that I think about it. may just be something like that, but what's this thing doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That looks more complicated than I was expecting, so maybe we can pick it up there next time. Sounds good?
Yep, sounds good.
All right.
This is so fun. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah. Thank you.
Great.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.